You never knew why Ronnie Barker really walked away. Sir Peter Hall offered him Falstaff. He turned it down. The man who launched his career never got over it. We're at Banbury Crematorium in Oxfordshire, where the full story finally gets told. He grew up in Bedford. Ordinary town, ordinary family. His father was a clerk for Shellmax, and when Ronnie was 4, the family moved to Oxford. That detail matters because Oxford gave him the amateur theater scene that quietly changed everything. He started as a bank clerk. Genuinely. He dropped out of higher education and sat behind a counter processing numbers. And then one evening he walked into a local theater group, got his first laugh from an audience, and that was that. The bank never saw him again. You probably remember him as Fletcher, that sloped walk, that knowing smirk, that absolute certainty that Norman Stanley Fletcher had seen it all and survived it anyway. Or maybe it was Arkwright, the stammering, penny-pinching shopkeeper who somehow made tight-fistedness feel warm. Either way, you knew him. Most of Britain did. Saturday nights, 20 million viewers, a national institution. What I find genuinely fascinating about Ronnie Barker is that he was not really a comedian at all. He never did stand-up, never performed cabaret. He was an actor who happened to be funny. And I think that distinction is exactly what made him better than almost everyone else. I always thought Ronnie Barker was the kind of performer who was the same off-screen as on. Big, warm, comfortable in any room. It turns out I was completely wrong about that. When I went back through the 1974 Parkinson interview, I wasn't expecting what I found. Barker, at the absolute peak of his fame, told Michael Parkinson on national television, "I'm shy when there's more than 3 people in the room. I can't be a best man at a wedding. I can't make speeches. I have to hide behind a character. I can't be myself. I feel that I have no personality." The man you watch command 20 million viewers every Saturday night thought he was nothing without someone else's words in his mouth. He turned down personal appearances, fete openings, local events. He couldn't bear to show up without a script because without one, he genuinely didn't know who he was. I think this is the part most people miss. All of that warmth you felt watching him. Fletcher's sly wisdom, Arkwright's bumbling devotion. That was Ronnie Barker giving you everything he had. Because off stage, he felt like he had nothing to give. His personal life was, by all accounts, the one place he felt safe. He met Joy Tubb while she was a stage manager in Cambridge. They married 9 months later in 1957 and stayed together until the day he left us. 3 children, a converted mill in Dean, Oxfordshire. Ronnie Corbett said Barker was first and foremost a family man, and honestly, reading everything I read, I believe that completely. But then everything changed. In 1979, his Porridge co-star Richard Beckinsale died of a heart attack. He was 31 years old. Few people know this. Days after Beckinsale was gone, going straight won a BAFTA. Barker stood in front of a live audience, collected the award, and told the room that Beckinsale's death had robbed him of the pleasure of receiving it. Honestly, this part got to me. That wasn't a speech. That was a man standing in public, holding an award he didn't want, trying not to fall apart. And 20 years later, in an ITV documentary tribute, Barker wept openly talking about him. He never really stopped grieving that one. If this person was part of your childhood or your life in some way, I would love to hear about it in the comments. And that is when things took a turn. By 1985, Barker had quietly made a decision that nobody outside his closest circle knew about. He was going to retire. Only Ronnie Corbett knew. What I found out was that Sir Peter Hall, the man who had first spotted Barker at the Oxford Playhouse 30 years earlier, offered him the role of Falstaff at the Royal National Theatre. Falstaff, one of the great Shakespearean comic roles, written as if it had been waiting for him his whole life. He turned it down. The reason he gave was that the commute from his home to the South Bank was too much trouble. Peter Hall's own words are on record, and they stayed with me long after I closed the tab. He said he should have played all the great Shakespeare comic parts. He would have been a wonderful Falstaff, a wonderful Toby Belch. There's about 15 parts in Shakespeare he could have done. His co-writers Dick Clement and Ian Lafreniere said it plainly. Nobody believed the commute story. The truth, pieced together from what Barker himself admitted, was a quieter kind of honesty. He felt his writing was declining. He was running out of ideas. and he had concerns about his heart. He wanted to leave before the work started to show the strain. He made it public on the chat show Wogan in 1987. Walked away, opened an antique shop in Chipping Norton called the Emporium with joy, and ran it for 10 years. He joked that he lost money every week, but said it was cheaper than skiing. In later years, the heart problems that had shadowed him for decades grew serious. He had survived a pulmonary embolism in 1997. By 2005, he had been offered heart valve replacement surgery and chose not to have it. He recorded one final television appearance, the Two Ronnies Christmas sketchbook, in July of that year. It aired in December. He was already gone. Ronnie Barker left us on the 3rd of October 2005 at the Catherine House Hospice in Banbury, Oxfordshire. He was 76 years old. Joy was by his side. I have to be honest, I did not expect to feel as much reading about that moment as I did. There was something in the quietness of it. No cameras, no audience, just the two of them. After everything, we are at Banbury Crematorium, Hardwick Hill, Southam Road, Banbury, Oxfordshire. It sits in the North Oxfordshire countryside, mature gardens surrounding it, and there's a stillness here that I think Ronnie Barker would have genuinely appreciated. He spent his whole career avoiding exactly this kind of attention. He was cremated here on the 13th of October 2005. The funeral was a humanist ceremony, around 40 minutes long. No hymns, no prayers. His daughter, Charlotte, read from Alice in Wonderland, which was one of his favorite books. She also read a poem by Christina Rossetti. The only music was Scenes from Childhood by Schumann. Ronnie Corbett was not there. David Jason was not there. That was the family's wish, and I respect it completely. The crematorium's own records confirm that his ashes remain here. There's a memorial on site, and what I find moving, standing here thinking about it, is that Joy Barker, who left us in January 2011, is believed to be memorialized here too. Together, quietly, in the Oxfordshire countryside they had made their home. There was no public gravestone inscription made available. But the Westminster Abbey memorial service, 6 months later, carried 4 candles in the procession instead of the usual 2. A tribute to the 4 candles sketch. Understated. Exactly right. When I found this detail, I had to include it, because that tiny gesture said everything about how Britain felt about losing him. What is the moment you remember most from Ronnie Barker's career? Tell me in the comments. What Ronnie Barker gave the world was not really comedy, although he gave us that in abundance. What he gave us was permission to feel ordinary things fully. Fletcher's small dignity inside a prison cell. Arkwright's ridiculous devotion to a penny. The sense that even a stumbling, stammering, imperfect person deserves to be the hero of the story. He was in our living rooms every Saturday night for years. And now he rests in a quiet crematorium in Oxfordshire, in a county he loved, near the mill where he and Joy made their life together. I keep thinking about Peter Hall's words. 15 Shakespeare roles. A Falstaff nobody got to see. During my research, I noticed that the biggest grief around Ronnie Barker is not just that we lost him. It is that we never got everything he could have been. He knew who he was when he was someone else. And in being someone else, he became one of the most real presences Britain ever put on screen. I put a lot of time into researching this story. And if it meant something to you too, hitting subscribe really does help me keep doing this.